following video is not made for kids. Your discretion is advised. Hello to my subscribers, this is the TFangy coming to you with what will hopefully be a quick review of a deluxe class Transformers figure that is a figure that most Transformers fans and collectors are either going to completely love or completely hate as far as I'm aware of. And the reason why I'm saying that is because it's an action figure of a character who has been given more action figures than any other Transformers character in recent years, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Studio Series Gamer Edition Bumblebee figure. So this is a brand new mold, and Bumblebee he is the first figure to be released in the Transformers Studio Series Gamer Edition line. I've already looked at Gamer Edition Optimus Prime and Megatron, who was released in Wave 2. And basically, from what I've seen, this new figure of Bumblebee, it is very faithful to his appearance in the War for Cybertron video game that was created by High Moon Studios back in 2010. And one thing I like about it is that it is smaller than the original Deluxe class figure. I always felt that the Generations Deluxe class War for Cybertron Bumblebee figure that was released at the beginning of the Generations line back in 2010, that it was too large of a figure for Bumblebee. That's why I missed out on the original version. I do have one of the repaints of that figure, but it's very difficult to transform, so I won't be bringing it out here for a comparison, unlike I did with Optimus Prime and Megatron. But I will do a size comparison with another Bumblebee figure. So here's Gamer Edition Bumblebee inside his box. You got some artwork here of him based on his appearance in the War of Cybertron video game. You got the same image here on this side of the box, and then you've got the same image on this side of the box, but it's been zoomed in so you can get a close look at Bumblebee's head sculpt. He's the first of the Gamer Edition Studio Series Transformers figures. Coming around here at the back of the box, you've got Bumblebee in his robot mode and his vehicle mode, and he transforms back and forth between both modes in 21 steps. It's video game inspired. I heard Bumblebee defends Iacon. And his one sentence bio reads, Bumblebee teams up with the Autobots to protect Iacon from the Decepticon assault. So yes, just like the other Studio Series figures, the Gamer Edition figures, they're based on screenshots from the video games that they appear in. And I personally don't have much of a thing for the cardboard backdrops that mimic the scene that they appeared in myself. But as I said, there have been so many action figures of Bumblebee, even though the Studio Series Gamer Edition figure is based on his appearance in the War for Cybertron video games. The general attitude I've seen is from other Transformers fans and collectors is that when it comes to action figures of Bumblebee, they're action figures that you either completely love it or you completely hate it, and there isn't too much middle ground when it comes to action figures of Bumblebee. So without further delay, let's get him out of his box and take a close look at him in his robot mode. Alright, and so here's Studio Series Gamer Edition Bumblebee out of his box, and for what it's doing being an updated version of War for Cybertron Bumblebee, his appearance in the video games, and as far as being an updated version compared to the original Generations Deluxe figure, I personally think that it's done a great job of doing so. One thing I've seen some people complain about is that the way Bumblebee's chest angles down, unlike the Generations 2010 Deluxe figure, instead of looking like Bumblebee has a beefed up chest, it looks like he has well, basically it makes him look like Dark of the Moon Leadfoot and Transformers Animated Ratchet, if you know what I mean. Me personally, I can get over it because I'm just really excited about how this guy is. And as I said, the original Generations 2010 figure, I always felt that figure was too big, that it was more like a borderline masterpiece Bumblebee figure, even though it was based on his appearance in the video game by High Moon Studios. But yeah, I actually enjoy the fact that this new figure of him is smaller, because I've always felt Bumblebee should be on the small size. But yes, I really enjoy how screen accurate it is to his appearance in the video games. If there's one minor nitpick that I have with Bumblebee, I honestly wish they would have used a slightly darker shade of blue for his eyes because at a distance the eyes tend to blend in with the silver on his face. And so I kind of wish they would have just made that a slightly darker shade of blue paint there on the eyes. But apart from that, at minor nitpick, I really enjoy how Bumblebee looks. For articulation, his head is technically on a ball joint, so he has the ability to, he has the potential to spin his head 360 degrees left and right. But because his head is kind of sunk down into his chest, you can't get the full rotation of it. The arms can spin forwards and backwards 360 degrees at the elbow, but you do have to angle the arm outward to get it around Bumblebee's backpack. Swivel joint in the bicep, hinge joint in the elbows. Unfortunately, he doesn't have wrist articulate, wrist swivels due to how his hands transform when you get Bumblebee into his vehicle mode. He has a waist swivel, so he can spin left and right 360 degrees. His legs only go out this far, are due to the boxy shape of his thighs hitting the top of the ball joint. But he does have thigh swivels, hinged knees, which do bend quite far towards the back, and then he does have he actually has backwards ankle rockers, which is a transformation joint, but the toe on the foot can go up and down slightly. But apart from that, and I really do enjoy how Bumblebee turned out, and I think the figure is decent enough for what it's trying to be. He being a new deluxe figure based on his appearance in the video game. So for a quick size comparison, here is Studio Series Gamer Edition Bumblebee with Netflix War for Cybertron Trilogy Bumblebee. So this is Generation 1 Bumblebee. This is War for Cybertron video game Bumblebee. So he is he is on the slightly smaller side for the deluxe class Transformers figures, but at least he's not as small as the Netflix Bumblebee figure is. But yeah, I really do enjoy how accurate he is to the video game. Now for weapons, Bumblebee, he comes with 3 accessory pieces. He comes with a sword, and unfortunately, the sword is the only one of Bumblebee's 3 weapons that he can actually hold in either one of his hands, because his other weapons I guess you could call this like a concussion blaster, and then of course his laser gun. The only way Bumblebee can hold these other weapons is if you do the gimmick where you pop off his right side arm and then you attach the laser gun to it, and there he's transformed his arm into his laser gun. Now I know this is what the Transformers characters do in the War for Cybertron video game, but honestly, as far as being a gimmick for these new Studio Series Gamer Edition figures, I think it would have been better if that gimmick hadn't been attempted. And instead of actually trying to have give the illusion that the Transformers Gamer Edition figures can transform their arms into their weapons, I think just making having them the old-fashioned way like Bumblebee is with his sword, where you actually put it in their hand, I think that would have been better. As it is, unfortunately, the 5mm ports, or it's that allow you to, or it's that on the port that the arm is on, is the only way Bumblebee can hold his weapon. So, at least Bumblebee's armed with a sword. You got to give him that. And if you wanted to, I guess you could take the laser gun if you have the original Generations 2010 War for Cybertron Bumblebee figure. You could give the laser gun from that figure and put it in the hand of this new Gamer Edition figure. But that's the main gripe I have with Bumblebee and all the other Gamer Edition figures. I wish Hasbro and Takara Tomy wouldn't have made that pop off the arm and imagine that the arm's transformed into the weapon gimmick. I think that is a gimmick that these figures could do without. But enough rambling about the flaws that Bumblebee has, because he's still a pretty decent figure. So that further delay to prevent me from repeating myself and babbling on about him, let's get Bumblebee transformed into his alt mode and wrap up the review. Alright, and so here is Bumblebee transformed into his alt mode, and what a pain that was. I thought it would be much easier than the old deluxe figure from the reviews I've seen. And I'm thinking I might have transformed it wrong and I probably missed a step because it was actually easier for me to pop off the roof section, which is Bumblebee's robot mode backpack, to get it transformed properly. So hopefully when I get around to Cliff Jumper, the transformation will be easier to do. But yeah, there is Bumblebee in his alt mode. He's a Cybertronian compact car. He does roll, his wheels do roll fairly well, but there's only a hairline of clearance space between his wheels and the bottom of his vehicle mode, so it's only going to be flat surfaces that Bumblebee's going to be driving around on. And for a size comparison, here he is once again with the Netflix Bumblebee figure, so even though he is a small deluxe, he's not the smallest one that we've gotten, so he is pretty great. The only real complaint that I have with Bumblebee in vehicle mode is weapon storage. You can store, or his sword. There's a slot on the bottom of the vehicle that allows you to store the sword underneath there. Or if you want to, you can also, instead of the sword, you can also store his laser gun if you desire. There, and then if you want, you can either store the sword or the bazooka on the roof of his vehicle mode. If you want. But as far as storing all three of his weapons on him at the same time, um, so as far as being able to store all three of Bumblebee's weapons at once, this is the best configuration where you have the sword and the concussion blaster stuck together, and Bumblebee has it sticking out on the roof. So yeah, that is a bit of a letdown that that's the only weapon storage for Bumblebee when he's transformed like this. Yes, but for what it does, as for what you get, it's still a nice update to the original Bumblebee figure. Even though I did have my own struggle transforming the roof of Bumblebee's vehicle mode, it's far less of a struggle than it is to transform the original deluxe figure. And just for one last special size comparison, here is Bumblebee next to Optimus Prime, and I really enjoy the size difference between these two. Bumblebee, this is an appropriate size of him compared to Optimus Prime for I'm in any capacity. I've always loved the idea of Bumblebee being much smaller than Optimus Prime is. So there he is next to Gamer Edition Optimus Prime. So to end the review for you with the proverbial question, do I recommend getting the Studio Series Gamer Edition Bumblebee and adding this figure to your Transformers collection? I do if you're a fan of the War for Cybertron video games, and if you're a fan of Bumblebee, then I do recommend getting this figure. However, if you feel you have enough action figures of Bumblebee in your Transformers collection, then this figure can be an easy pass, especially if you've never played the War for Cybertron video games. But yeah, as far as being a must-have figure, I'd say Bumblebee is right around in the middle where he's not necessarily the figure to go out and grab right now, but he's still pretty decent to have. Thank you guys all so much, and until next time, you guys, this has been the TFangy. Thank you so much to all my subscribers for your continued support, and to all my friends. And until next time, you guys, stay safe, stay healthy, transform and roll out. Goodbye, everyone.